The Departed, the movie from 2006, Martin Scorsese. This movie has been requested to me to watch probably about 3 to 7 times now from different people, different individuals. People like, oh yeah, watch The Departed. It's a good movie, another Leonardo DiCaprio movie with Martin Scorsese, and that's pretty much all I knew about it. Like I thought it was actually a horror movie, and then I actually sat down and watched it, and I was like, oh, it's not horror at all. For some reason, I thought it was the horror flick. Maybe that's Shutter Island. Is Leonardo DiCaprio's in that? Anyway, The Departed. This movie to me left me feeling kind of and meh. And on this episode of Movie Breakdowns, I'm going to talk about it. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. And what is Movie Breakdowns? Movie review series. We look at new and old movies, give them a grade 8 through up. Plus and minuses do count. If you're watching this and there's a movie review or series movie review, please put in the comment section below. I get to it as best I can. And I also have a Patreon. Patreon/Ali Zakka, where for $2 a month you can jump in front of everybody and you can review anything you want. Now I get to it like it cuts in front of everybody because you're paying for my services. Also, you get trade reaction, trade reviews, and much more stuff on the Patreon. And also, if you're watching this, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe and comment. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much. Onward to 200 subscribers. I know that's for me. I'm a small channel, but hey, I love it. Thank you guys for the love and support. Thank you so much. Now, let's go ahead and get into The Departed from the year 2006. And what is this movie about? One, I do want to say this review does have spoilers in it. So if you haven't seen the movie from 2006, stop this review, go watch it, and come back. Now, let's go ahead and jump into it. This movie is about 2 individuals. One is a part of a gang, grew up in the gang lifestyle, and has infiltrated the FBI. And he's working with the gang lord of the city. And then you have another individual who grew up in the gang lifestyle as well, grew up around it, but he wants to become a police officer. He doesn't want to follow the path that his family followed. So he joins up for the police force and ends up becoming a gang member just by becoming a undercover cop. By not mistake, was forced into the role. And you have 2 individuals who are trying to figure out how to one guy trying to bring in the gang lord, and the other guy trying to keep the gang lord on the street, but they're working in opposite teams. One works for the police force that's crooked, and the other one works for the gang that is not crooked. He's actually working for the police force. It's a pretty cool concept, and this movie doesn't really play on that concept because other stuff happens in the movie that don't really need to happen per se, in my opinion. I'm sure I get into my first thoughts here because you bring in a love interest into this movie that doesn't really add a factor to the movie. It doesn't really lead anywhere. So that was kind of pointless. You bring in a twist in the end of the movie that's like, okay, why is that a thing? Didn't really need to be there, but okay, sure, we're rolling with it. And the movie's about pretty much lying, deceits, and rats within groups. That's pretty much it. And both sides trying to, I guess, snuff the other person out before they get caught. And like a race against time kind of movie, but at the same time, it just seemed like they were trying to do too much with this movie to really get the story home. So when I finished this movie, I was like, okay, that's the ending. Sure. Like I didn't feel ecstatic. I didn't feel let down, but also I didn't feel anything. The ending of this movie just made me feel like I wasted 2 hours, and how long this movie is? 2 hours and 31 minutes of my life for storylines that didn't go anywhere. For the main story to be like, yeah, I saw that coming, but sure. This is what we're going with. And the reason why I said it, because you have certain characters, like Mark Wahlberg's character, for example, who's in this movie, and he's a dick to Leo's character for majority of the movie. He's a really big dick to Leo's character, and Mark eventually gets sent to leave, and then most likely fired. He gets released from the force, and no longer on the force, no longer working for the police department, thanks to Matt Damon's character. And he's gone for feel like an hour of the movie. He's not there. And you're just like, well, what's the point of Mark Wahlberg being in this movie and he's not there? And when the ending happened, you're just like, yeah, it'd be neat if I would have been able to care about this. I felt like I didn't really grow with much of the characters but Leo's character. And like I said, this is spoilers. When Leo does, as I assume what's going to happen, does die, I was like, well, that sucks. I guess Matt Damon won. And then another character dies, and you're like, was that necessary? And then another character dies, you're just like, okay, what's the point? Why all this happening here in the last 10 minutes of this movie that's pointless? Like, why? What's with the endless death scenes? I don't know. Like, majority of this movie was kind of, the main storyline wasn't bad. I like the idea of the main storyline. I like the gist of the main storyline. The acting and actors in this movie are phenomenal. They're giving a great job. They're going 110% in everything they're doing here. And there's some pieces of the story I felt like didn't need to exist. I felt like, for example, Vera Farmiga, I feel like her character didn't need to exist in this movie because she doesn't really add anything to this movie besides being a female character in the movie. And unfortunately becomes a character that hooks up with Leo's character, which doesn't make any sense. Like, she's dating Matt Damon's character for about 4 months and then immediately goes on a date with Leo's character, who belittles her in her office. Goes on a date with him, says we can't talk anymore, and then end up hooking up with him later in the movie, and you're just like, where does this lead to? Nothing. Because Matt and Leo never really met each other to even have a conversation like, you're the other man, because Matt Damon doesn't think anything of it, and Leo knows of the other guy, but he doesn't know who that dude is, so there's never that, you're the other man, you're the one who's doing this. Like, to me, storyline wise, it wasn't, the gist was there, but it wasn't executed enough for me to be really good. And this movie's okay. It's okay, but it's not a good, solid movie. Like, I wouldn't be saying like this movie should, watch. I think this movie's okay to good, but not like good to great. Alright, so let me go ahead and talk about the director, Martin Scorsese. Martin Scorsese directed this movie, and there's certain times in this movie where you see like the close-up zoom in on people's faces, or the other Scorseseisms in this movie. But however, there's also times in this movie where I feel like, for example, the chase scene at night where Leo is chasing Matt Damon's character, and they try to do like the whole blur fuzzy screen and shaky cam, it doesn't really work. And then some of the action scenes don't really work as well. I watched this on Netflix. It was rated R, so there wasn't anything edited out, but it just didn't work for me. Some of the action scenes and shot and action sequences is just like, okay, it looks choppy at certain times, especially the choreography for like gunfights, stuff like this in this movie doesn't flow well for me. And I don't know, it just seemed off. This movie kind of seemed off for me. I think they could have cleaned up some of the choreography, especially for the gunfights and gun scenes and sequences, to make it look a little neater, but this movie did not do that. And this movie had a budget, by the way, of $90 million estimated, and it grossed worldwide $291 million. So they got their money back. They doubled their money. They did a good job on getting their money for this movie. This movie is stacked with a cast, by the way. Let's go ahead and jump into it, because Leonardo DiCaprio, who plays Billy. Leonardo DiCaprio is great. He is great. He is probably one of my favorite actors. Every movie I watch him in, I feel like he doesn't fall off. I don't feel like he doesn't deliver. Like, I watch his character and I get more and more invested in his character. I get more and more invested into the panic, the anxiety this character goes through, the part that he wants to get out of his lifestyle. He just wants his life back. He wants to be a normal person. He doesn't want to be this criminal that the police department made him become, to go undercover and work his way into this gang lord's operations. He just wants to be a normal person again, and he's taking these pills and going through it and all these things and post-traumatic stress and all this stuff. And Leo puts it out there. He displays it so well. But then there's a scene in the movie that does throw me off. I feel like this is part of Scorsese not directing it well, in my opinion, is that he has a flashback for Leo in the middle of a setup scene, and it throws me off because Leo is sitting there clean shaved, and then it flashes back to him having a beard, then it flashes back to him being right there in the moment again, and it's just like, wait a minute, was this a flashback or this a current scene, or this is the future? It threw me off. It didn't really like give you time to soak it in. It just happened like that versus letting it be more of a, like, there's a way to do flashbacks in movies, be like, now you don't have to say like a few months ago, be obvious about it, but when it switched like that, it was really jarring and threw me off. It happened at the beginning of the movie, and you're watching, you be like, did something, I missed a scene? Did something happen? This movie does that a lot. But Leo, as a character, I think the character Billy was phenomenal. I think Leonardo did a great job, and that's the one you grow with the most. He's your protagonist of this movie. It's the one you're following the most, and you want to see him, you know, come out on top, and you're hoping that he does, but we'll see. Matt Damon, who plays Colin, I thought Matt Damon did a great job too. Matter of fact, the character of Colin was done really well by Matt. Matt was a character who, he was kind of becoming the top guy in the police force because of the fact he had to end with the gang lords, and he knew who to bust and capture to make him look good in the light of crime. Like, he knew how to make himself look good, and he was rising his way up to the top. And it's a really interesting dynamic. He had one character who was going deeper and deeper, barely making it by, scraping it to get through, while the other one was making more success and making more money, but he was dirty and the other guy was clean. That is a pretty cool concept here, and Damon delivers it well, where you think, okay, so this is who wins out on top. Like, Damon's the one who gets it. He beats the crime lord, and you know, he's completely dirty, but sure. Jack Nicholson as Costello. I thought Jack Nicholson was fine. He wasn't scary. He wasn't intimidating to me enough like other crime bosses I see, like Robert De Niro movies and other bosses. Jack Nicholson, he was fine. He's still good acting. He still believed the character, but I didn't feel like he was threatening. He seemed like the cool dad or the dad who thinks like, yeah, I just want to be with the cool kids. And, you know, he's a crime boss. He didn't feel like a threatening crime boss. Like, I didn't take him seriously enough to be like, oh, Leo's gonna die. But at the same time, I was like, actually, he might kill Leo if he doesn't trust him enough. So, I don't know. I think Jack Nicholson did a good job as that character. I didn't see anything wrong with him. Mark Wahlberg as Dignell. Only thing with Dignell was like, he was a really dick of a character. He was a jerk. And Mark Wahlberg played that part up well. But I wish Mark Wahlberg would have had more connection with Billy. I wish Mark Wahlberg's character was written so he actually connected with Leo. You know, they didn't agree eye to eye. They could have been like big brother or best friends who, not even best friends, but more like family members, like brothers who don't like each other sometimes, or brothers who do like each other, love each other, appreciate each other, but they get into it all the time because they just two different mindsets, but they, at the end of the day, they care for each other. That would have been kind of cool for Dignam and Billy, and when certain scenes happen in this movie, it makes more sense why Dignam does certain stuff. But no, it's just like Dignam was out for himself and doesn't really care about Billy. Matter of fact, both rapes him to the point where you're like, this dude's in butthole. Like, what the heck? So Mark Wahlberg played it fine, but the writing for him wasn't that good. Mr. Sheen, or Martin Sheen, not Mr. Sheen. Martin Sheen, who plays Queen Anne, thought he did fine as well. Didn't have any problem with him. He seemed more like the father figure to Billy, to Leo's character, and he didn't seem kind of smart at certain points of the movie, but yeah, he seemed smart at the beginning of the movie. Once again, writing in this movie wasn't solid for me. The writing wasn't solid for me for other characters. Main plot and gist of the movie was great, but the other characters' writing wasn't that strong. Ray Winstone as Mr. Finch, threatening. He was more threatening to me than Jack Nicholson's character. Thought he did great. Vera Farmiga, who plays Madeline, this irks me a lot. Madeline's character irks me because I think Vera is a great actress in this movie and she does a good job. But her point in this movie is not... Like, you could have written her out this movie and it would have been perfectly fine. You didn't need her in this movie to even keep the movie going. If you wanted her to be a reason why Colin stays what he's doing with the gang lords, I get that. Okay. But you didn't really see the chemistry between Colin and Madeline enough to really be like he truly cares for her. Yeah, you see him pick her up and hit on her and she falls for it like immediately, which you're like, okay, cool, that's fine. The dude picks her up in the elevator, she's like, okay, I can take you on that date. And they have a little date, they flirt with each other, but that's probably it. Like, you don't really see like you see that he flirts with her and he likes her, but you don't see like that he really cares for her. You don't get that. And then Leonardo DiCaprio, who pretty much destroys her in front of her office, asks her on a date, and she agrees to this, and you're just like, why? For what reason? You have a guy at home who you think is the guy you're into, and she said, well, we're 4 months in. Like 4 months in, and do you not care for, Colin? Do you not care for Matt Damon's character? Or you're just want to sleep around with Leo's character? Like, to me, she wasn't written well in this movie, and that bothers me. And they try to make it seem like she was a big focal point, but she wasn't. It's like her storyline wasn't necessary. Anthony Anderson as Mr. Brown. Thought Anthony Anderson was kind of cool. He was there. I was like, oh shoot, Anthony Anderson in this movie. And he had a little part of it in, which actually, I kind of want to talk about this because Mark Wahlberg and Queen's character, or Mark Wahlberg, Martin Sheen, Dignam and Queen Anne kept telling Leo's character that nobody's going to remember who you are. Nobody knows who you are. The only people who know that you work for the police department is me and Queen Anne. We're the only people that know. And Anthony Anderson's character, Mr. Brown, he knew who Leo's character was. So he was the out for Leo. And they didn't play on that as much. It was hinted, and it's like, oh, this is how Leo gets away, this is how Leo gets out. But they don't play on it at all. They just like, I don't know, it was just almost a fleeting moment, like, oh yeah, here's the moment to kind of like, the hero gets out alive, and it's like, oh, nope. And then Alec Baldwin, who plays Ellaby, thought it was cool that Alec Baldwin was in this movie, so that's why I'm giving him a shout out. Thought he did great too. Any last thoughts for this movie? There was a bunch of licensed music in this movie. As a matter of fact, one of the songs plays twice. It's like the Irish, an Irish kind of song. It's like a rock song. I can't think of the name of it. It plays twice in this movie. It plays at the beginning of the movie, in the middle of the movie, and then it plays at the end. I don't know the correlation of it. Now, maybe the lyrics of the movie, lyrics of the song fit. I don't know, or they just listened to it on the radio, or there's the song that was popular at that time. But it plays twice in this movie, and I don't understand why, because nobody in this movie is Irish. But yet, Jack Nicholson wore an Irish shirt, And speaking of Jack Nicholson, this is a spoiler part, but Matt Damon kills Jack Nicholson's character in this movie. He shoots him dead, kills him. Okay, so the crime boss is dead. Matt Damon gets a Medal of Honor, kind of like he's getting bumped up. Everybody's like, oh my God, great job, you know, you did it. And he's pretty much like scot-free. He's good. The main guy is dead. He's good to go. And Leonardo DiCaprio walks into the office and says, I want my life back. You know, I've been on the police department. I did other stuff. And Matt Damon gets his information and then goes to another room and looks up his stuff, but doesn't delete his file, which you thought Matt Damon was going to do it. Leonardo DiCaprio, who was waiting for Matt Damon, kind of thought something was up. He like, there's somebody within the FBI who is, you know, a gang member who was infiltrated the gang, who infiltrated FBI, the police department. So Leo walks out of the room and sees that Matt Damon's looking at his stuff and thinking that, oh shoot, he's the guy, I need to get out of here. And Leo leaves. Matt Damon comes back and notices that Leo realized that he is the inside man. And Matt Damon, who had his paperwork and was going to give to Leo, gets on the computer that he was in the room with Leo with, gets on that computer and proceeds to delete his file, but told Leo that I had to go to another room to check your files, because the computer that we're in this room together, or room A, let's call it, doesn't work. So let me rewind that. Room A that Leo and Matt Damon character are in, right? Matt said this computer doesn't work. I can't pull your files up. I'm gonna go to another computer in room B. Leo in room A is waiting. Matt Damon's on a computer in room B looking at Leo's file, checking him. Leo walks out and sees Matt. It's like, oh shoot, you're the bad guy. I'm leaving. Matt walks back into room A, see that Leo's gone. Leo found a piece of paperwork on the desk that shows that, like, when he was working with the undercover earlier, he left us up a sign that only he would know if something goes wrong. So he sees that sign and was like, oh, I'm out. Matt knows that Leo noticed and proceeds to get onto the computer in room A and delete the files, which can be completely avoided if Matt Damon just stayed in that room and checked the files with Leo there. I don't know why that scene happened like that. I don't know why it was written like that. It was, and it bothers me. Bothers me a lot. Because that whole scene could have been prevented. Matt Damon would have won. Leo got his life back. Movie's over. But no, we have another 10 minutes of a movie that was pointless, involving people dying for no reason. I could have got Leo's like, oh, I'm still in danger. I might die. Let me get out of town. And he goes to Vera's character and tells her, you only open this if something happens to me, or I tell you to open it. And I thought he was going to get away. He was going to hide off, go to another country, a wanted man. You know, at the end of the day, he's still going to go to jail kind of thing. He still loses no matter what happens, because the two people who knew who he was were apparently out of the office, now not working the force anymore, are dead. So, and that seemed to me was completely pointless, because Matt Damon was going to give Leo his Medal of Honor, or his Medal of Valor, which he ended up getting to him anyway at the end of the movie. So what was the point of him going to the other room to freak Leo out? Pointless. Directing, camera angles is not that solid. There's different parts where edits don't look as good in this movie to me, compared to, you know, like Goodfellas, where I feel like the edit was done solid, and compared to, you know, Wolf of Wall Street, this one, the editing is not that great to me, and I don't think it's the best edit work I've seen in a movie. It's fine, but you notice like certain cuts and certain scenes, you're like, oh, that throws me off. If you're looking for that kind of work. Music, there's licensed music in this movie. It's fine. It's just one song that plays twice I don't understand. Like, the lyrics to me didn't really match it for what I was playing for, but okay. Maybe because I don't know that song full away. I just know the beat of it. Is this a Friday night movie? No, this 2-hour and 31-minute movie is not worth a Friday night. You can watch it on another day, but don't watch it on Friday night. It's grading time. I'm going to grade the movie The Departed from 2006 a C+. It's a C+ for me. The reason why I give this movie a C plus is because the acting in this movie is phenomenal. Everybody goes in 110%. The gist of the movie is there. The main storyline is not bad. It is a pretty good storyline. The main storyline between the two people who pretty much are infiltrating each other's camp. There we go, if I want to say, and trying to figure out who the rat is in the other camp is pretty dang cool. I like that concept. But then having Vera character in this movie, the lady who was the love interest, made no sense. And some of the ending writing didn't really add up either. And some of the camera edits wasn't that good. So it's a C plus for me. If you've seen The Departed, what did you think? Please put in the comment section below. Other than that, see you guys in the next episode of Movie Breakdowns. And keep being awesome. Thank you guys for watching this episode. I really appreciate it. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Also, you want to see what else I'm doing in my normal life and other things that's going on, please follow me on Instagram at Ali_Zakka. I'll put it right here around my face. Yep, right there. Also, if you want more episodes of movie breakdowns or grind towards success or whatever it is I'm doing on YouTube, you know what? Follow my page right here, like I said before, the little comment thing right there, And then you can watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns right here, and watch the last episode of Grind Towards Success right there. Other than that, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate y'all. See y'all next time. Keep being awesome.